to my channel. It has been a while since I've posted a video. We all came down with the flu this year, so that put us out of business for a few weeks. And then we traveled up north to visit with some family, and my dad ended up getting sick while we were there, and then ended up, with double pneumonia and in the hospital. And so we've just kind of been sick and vacationing, and then now that we've been back, we've been just trying to get caught up on stuff. But now everything is kind of calmed down. We're getting back into our flow, and so I thought I would post a video. I've been seeing this video go around on YouTube, and if I can remember where I originally saw it, I will post a link below. But it's basically 10 things that we don't do in our homeschool. And I thought this was such a good idea of a video to post because so many times as homeschoolers, we kind of compare ourselves to others, and, what are you doing, or what am I doing, or, oh, this works really well for them, so let me try to implement that. And what happens is the times we spend so much time comparing ourselves to others that we kind of, miss the mark for what would work for our own homeschool. So I think it's really neat for all of us to share things that we don't do, so that if you ever, if you're on Instagram or you're on YouTube and you see all of these amazing things that people do, it's good to know, hey, there's some homeschoolers out there who don't do that, and that works for them too. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we don't do in our homeschool is we don't really do any crafts. I'm not like a crafty kind of mom. I like to do crafts. I love art. I love to, be able to do that thing. I'm also very particular about keeping things in order, and so I don't really like the mess that comes with crafting. And my daughter loves to do crafts, but my son kind of just rushes through them, and so I don't really see the value in doing crafting for him. That doesn't mean we never do crafts. A lot of times during the holidays, different holidays, we'll do crafts. We do some art projects, stuff like that. But as a general, we don't really do crafts in our homeschool. If you see me looking down, it's because I made notes in my notebook. The second thing we don't do, and I know I will get a lot of flack for this one, but we don't really do read alouds that often. My kids are 12, almost 13, and 16 going on 17. So read alouds are a little bit difficult. We've tried to implement read alouds, and sometimes we do read alouds. Our history requires us to do read alouds, the way that it's formatted, and occasionally we'll, dive into a book together that we'll end up doing read alouds. But for the most part, other than devotionals or history, something that's written into the curriculum, we don't really do read alouds. I don't like to be read to. My brain just doesn't process stuff that way. So if you're reading to me, there's a good chance I'm not gonna understand what you said to me. I kind of have to be able to look at it for myself. So having them read aloud sometimes is not always great for us. And then when I read aloud to them, my son is very kinesthetic, so he kind of has to be doing something. So I got blocks for him to play with while he was listening, and that's great. But I find that I feel like he's not listening. Whether he is or not, I'm not really sure. But it just doesn't usually flow very well for us. So we do keep trying, but we don't generally do read alouds in our homeschool. The third thing that we don't do is we do not follow a normal school schedule. So I know a lot of homeschoolers who kind of go by the school, the public school calendar, and that's great, and that works great for them. And maybe they have, a spouse that has a more traditional job that follows that calendar, or maybe they have, they themselves work and it follows, a more traditional calendar. For us personally, we live in South Florida and it is hot. So I kind of like doing school during the summer when it's hot and crowded everywhere. It just kind of works for us because I really, really love taking the bulk of our break off during like Thanksgiving and Christmas and stuff like that. And then we always travel up north at some point in the spring to visit family. And so it's nice to be able to have that flexibility. So we follow a year-round homeschool flow, not necessarily a schedule. But we do not follow the traditional like public school schedule. So we may be schooling when they're schooling, and that doesn't seem to bother my kids because I don't think they really know the difference. So number 4, we don't really do nature studies. Again, we live in South Florida, so it is hot, and I don't feel like we have some of the resources available to us that others have. We've done a lot of like marine, like hands-on things, but as far as like a traditional nature study that we would like do every week or have like a natural flow to it, we just don't. I would love to, and that is something I'm going to try to incorporate in the coming year or so, but my kids love to be outside when it's not, you know, super hot. They're actually outside right now doing a photo shoot. But as far as like a traditional nature study, I just don't feel like we have the resources to. So if you live in a hot place like we do and you have found a way to kind of incorporate like a regular nature study, I would love to hear your feedback and like how you do that exactly, because I struggle with that. Number 5, we don't always get to our morning basket. I have a morning basket, and I have a couple videos I think of like, because I kind of switch out, you know, throughout the year. So I have a couple videos of like what's in our morning basket, and I love our morning basket, but unfortunately, sometimes life gets in the way, and if we get behind on school, then when we're playing catch up, the things that are in our morning basket tend to be the things that kind of get pushed to the side, unfortunately. So although I do have a morning basket and we do have some activities that we try to do together in the morning as a family, we don't always get to our morning basket. And that's okay. Do I wish it was different? Yeah. But, you know, life happens. So, okay. Number 6, we don't do timelines or lap books. When we first started homeschooling, I did lap books, and my daughter loves them. My son, not so much, and they're a lot of work. And when you have a kid who, like my son does not have the patience, even now at almost 13 years old, to like sit there and like cut the things out and whatever. And I'm such a perfectionist that like if he cuts it and it's not right, then I have to like recut and whatever. Sorry, I have like a piece of my hair's not cooperating. Anyway, so we just don't always do those things. We did them for a while, and then we kind of stopped doing them. And my daughter did say to me the other day, though, that she probably says, like, she says she's probably in a homeschool, but she said to me that in her homeschool she's going to do lots of lap books. So obviously that's something that she likes to do. But and we don't do timelines. I don't know. We've tried timelines. We've had different curriculum that's come with, you know, different timelines and stuff, and we have tried to do it, but I don't know. It just doesn't ever stick for us. So yeah, we don't do timelines. We don't do lap books. Number 7, we do not do a big box, like full grade curriculum. I kind of just piece together things here or there that work. You know, my kids at times have been doing even like, you know, my daughter might be doing math curriculum from one place and my son may be doing it from another place. So sometimes even I don't stick with the same company for both kids. So do not do a full box curriculum for set grades. I think they're awesome if that's what works for you, but it just doesn't work for my kids. And we did try that kind of like in the first year or so. I bought like all Horizons and bought all their curriculum, and that's what we used, and that was fine. But it just doesn't work for us, so we don't do that anymore. Number 8, we don't do a loop schedule. I know lots of people love a loop schedule, and I like to draw up a loop schedule, and I love the idea of a loop schedule and incorporating all of those things. But again, kind of like with our morning basket, life kind of gets in the way, and we end up just focusing on like, okay, how do we get caught up? Like, what do we need to do to get caught up? And unfortunately, the things that would be on a loop schedule, I feel like kind of get pushed to the side. So, number 9, we do not pay for any outside academic classes. I know lots of families do like classical conversations or different homeschool classes and stuff like that, and that's awesome. And when we first started homeschooling in the past, we have taken advantage of some of those things. My daughter took an art class once. My daughter did an SAT prep class. My son did like a Lego robotics class. So we've taken classes here or there, but they never seem to really work for us because, number 1, I feel like they're expensive. And it just, for me, we're on a pretty, not strict, but like on a pretty like manageable budget for homeschool, and I just don't feel like the funds are worth it for that, because we kind of have to watch what we're spending, especially as our kids are getting older. I feel like the curriculum gets more expensive, so that's one of the reasons would be the cost. And the second part too is like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem to work for us. I think we embrace flexibility a lot, and unfortunately classes like those, there's not a lot of flexibility, and I feel like then you like have homework to do, and it just doesn't flow for us. Like, we just don't do it. So we've never belonged to CC, anything like that. It's just not our thing, and it just doesn't flow with our days and with our schedule. And my husband runs his own business too, so he sometimes doesn't always have a traditional schedule, and like he can take off here or there like when he wants to or whatever. So for me, I feel like I like to kind of have a little bit of flexibility and that availability if we need it. So, and then number 10, so the 10th thing that we do not do in our homeschool is we do not adhere to a strict daily schedule. In the first few years, I was very like, okay, we get up at this time and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And, okay, reading block now, and, then we're going to do our math block, and we don't do that anymore. I don't even wake my kids up in the morning, to be honest with you. They're both decently early risers, so it's never usually a problem, but we just kind of get up and get ready and, eat breakfast, and then we just kind of flow in. If my daughter is up earlier than the rest of us, she will kind of, get started on her own, and I plan out the entire year during the summer, so my kids have a book that has the entire year of lesson plans in it. So, and I will make a video on that of how I plan my year, but my kids have their notebooks, so they know exactly what needs to be done. And so if they're up super early and they want to get started, they're welcome to do that. I would love to be an early riser. I'm just not. My husband gets up at like 5 a.m., 4:30 sometimes. I'm just not. I feel better if I wake up on my own. So I'm generally up by about 7:30. But like I said, we don't start off with like a strict schedule. So some days we're in the mood to school, and so we'll get a good run on things, and some days we're not as much in the mood, and I'm like, okay, what can we get done? Or okay, well, let's at least get these things done. And we have field trips and play dates and things like this, and so sometimes we just don't get to everything. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video about the 10 things that we don't do in our homeschool. I also decided to do a video about 10 things we do in our homeschool. And I will be filming that, and then that should be going up shortly too. And I'm also going to be filming how I plan our homeschool year, so you can see exactly how I plan out the year, so that they have everything that they need. And we are headed to the homeschool convention in Orlando next month, so I also thought maybe I would try to film from there too, for those of you who haven't been to a homeschool convention. So if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe below so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. And thanks guys, bye!